So I want to be a farmer. And when I finally made the decision that, yeah, let's go, let's do it, let's make it work, there was two main things that were most important to me for this to be able to see out the long haul, and it wasn't just a fad and get in it and get out of it. The two main things were, one, is that it had to be me working full-time on the farm. So how I was going to make that work is that there had to be no debt on the property, and I had to have like a big enough savings buffer to be able to live for a year with no income until I get the farming up and running. The other part of it was the farm had to be farmed regeneratively. I've read so many books and watched so many videos on regenerative farming, and it's the only way to do it if you want the farm to last and not degrade for generations, which is what I want. I want to be able to hand it over to my kids, or my kids working it with me. That's what I want. So I had to be farmed regeneratively. So like no inputs into the soil. Everything that's on the farm stays on the farm, and it's self-regenerating. The soil gets better with time. I'll do a bit more on regenerative farming a bit later. I've been experimenting in the backyard here at my suburban house with a couple of chickens. Wait till the end of the video and I'll show you what it looks like, what I was experimenting. So to get this to work with the budget that we've got, to be able to have enough money to get through living, buy nappies, buy food, buy undies. Gosh, I go through a lot of undies. I don't know why. I just keep blowing them out. So keep buy that stuff, all the stuff that you need to live. We've got to have multiple enterprises. So I want to be a farmer. So I want to be a farmer. I want to have that enterprise, but I need other enterprises to make it work on the smaller block. And they merge together, and then we'll get full-time income. So those enterprises are a ruminant animal, so either a cow or a sheep or something else like that. There'll be laying hens. So chickens, they poop out eggs. Laying hens. Hip Camp, which is like an online website that you can book campsites and go there, and it's all set out for you. It's kind of like Airbnb for camping, and also an Airbnb, like a granny flat we could do up and rent out. So all of those put together will get us that full-time income on paper, of course, but that's what I've worked out. So with those enterprises, we were looking at somewhere touristy, somewhere with a couple of things to go and see, so people could come and stay and then branch out and go and see the sights. So we wanted to get a property with all these enterprises, somewhere between 100 and 300 acres was the ideal. So we started off by looking out west. We went out to Mudgee and had a look at a property out there. It was 250 acres, so the upper end. Was excited about that. When we went there, it was dry as. So that was one thing in the back of my head. But it ticked the ruminants. It was a sheep country property, and it had a good hip camp opportunity, and you could probably run some chickens there, although it wasn't very flat. There was like a mountain in the middle of it. But then for the accommodation, there was no Airbnb opportunity there, and I didn't know what was out there. Like the wineries come to mind, but I can't imagine people would want to camp and then go to a bit of an upper class winery and then come back in camping. So I'm not sure that was really going to work, and it was just so dry. And you always see on the news about people talking about drought, and it's hard going, and they had to get loans out to cover the drought. It just sounded like too much. So we crossed that off, and then we went up to Taree, which is much closer to the coast, because there was also something in us that just wanted to be close to the water too, and we were trying to have our cake and eat it. But anyway, we went to Taree and we saw a property up there. It was maybe 40 minutes, 50 minutes from the coast. and the property was okay. It was pretty hilly, but that's okay. But it was just completely overgrown. The house was just full of crap. It was a bit of a hoarder this family, I think. And then we went to Taree and had a look around at the shops just to see what the community's like, because I'd never been to Taree, and it just didn't really give us the warm fuzzies. It just, I don't know, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I don't want to talk too badly about it because I only had a small amount of time there, but Taree wasn't for us. So that left us to head down south. We expanded our realestate.com search right out to the whole of New South Wales, because that's the kind of the climate we like. Queensland's too hot, Victoria's too cold, so we went right down to the Bega Valley. Oh, this property, looking at the app, sitting on there, looking all night, and like, oh, ticks this box, ticks this box. It's got 2 Airbnbs on the property. It's got a nice flat area along a river for camping. There's plenty of spots to have the laying hens in the chicken caravan. You tow them around the pasture. And it already had cattle on it. I think it already had 35 cattle on it, maybe a few more. Yeah, it ticked all the boxes. So we made our way down there, and we had a look at it, and it was so green, because it's only 30 minutes from the coast, 30 minutes from Eden, if you know that. So we organised some time off from work, packed the kids up, and we head straight down there. It's about 8 hours from home. And we went round and had a look. The agent took us around the fields, had a look at the houses and that, the local towns. It was awesome. This is the one. So that leads on to where we're up to now. So from there, we found the property. We're pumped. It ticks all the boxes. Doesn't tick the box of being close to Sydney, which is where most of our family is, but it's not out of the state, so it's not out of the question. It's the way we were thinking. And it ticks the boxes, so we've paid the deposit, and we're waiting for that to settle. In the meantime, we have sold this house that we're in up in Newcastle, and we've aligned the sale dates, which is really exciting. So it's all lined up in the middle of August. It'll all settle, and we'll be going farming. So we went down to the farm because the farm's fully stocked with cattle, right? And it's also got a bit of machinery there, and the owner just wants to walk off because he's retiring and doesn't need any of the stuff where he's going. So I went down to have a look at all of it, because we're only looking at the vital signs the first time we went down. So now we're going for a more in-depth look. Went and had a look at all the cattle, and there's he's reduced the numbers a bit because from the few phone calls we've had. I'm using some of the land for the hip camp, so reduce the cattle numbers a few. So he's got 26 pregnant cattle. They're black ones, they're Angus cattle with a bit of another breed mixed in there. And they all look really healthy, shiny coats, nice and plump, not just because they're pregnant, but like look healthy. So yeah, we'll work something out with that, I reckon. And yeah, had a look at all the machinery. There's a big green tractor there. There's all sorts of hay equipment and bits and pieces that you kind of gather all over the farm. Yeah, so that was just last weekend that we hadn't had a look. So we're having a chat to him about all that gear at the moment. And yeah, I think the other thing that I haven't told you yet, which was it was a big deal. It was like it made me a bit nervous. So I had to I put in my resignation for my 9-to-5 job. I think I put it in about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, and I was packing it. I was super nervous. I think this, in my mind, was this bit of paper with the resignation. That was like, there's no going back, or like this is like the serious thing now. I put it in, and yeah, it made me real nervous. I felt funny. Like, it was good nurse. It didn't feel like sick in the stomach or anything. I was just like, ooh, it's happening. Yeah, so that's about where we're up to at the moment. Now I'll head at the back and give you a little glimpse of my chicken experiment. Yeah. So this is my backyard that you can see. There's a There's a few fruit trees up the back there. It drops off into reserve. And this retaining wall here, this is where we had the chicken coop. Like an enclosed chicken coop. We had it on deep bedding. That's why all these pumpkins and tomatoes have popped up, because the chickens did not eat all the seeds. Anyway, we had the coop here, and we had the door in the front here, right here. They used to walk out just here. And we had electric netting fence, and we used to divide the yard up into 3. So for 1 week, they used to be over here, and then the next week, they used to like come over here and use half of this grass, and then the third week, they'd be over here with the fruit trees, and maybe half of this grass. And yeah, that's what we were doing. I was just trying to see how the grass would come back, and what they ate. And my gosh, chickens eat a lot of grass. It's crazy how much grass they eat. But now we've got all these different plants coming up. I'm not sure if other birds brought them in, but have a look. You got all these different plants, weeds. Some people call them weeds. Some people call them pasture improvers. But it's the diversity of species, which is what's really exciting. But yeah, they fertilized the grass, and it's growing like crazy. But I had 6 chickens here, and it was a bit too much for how much grass I had, because the grass couldn't quite get back to where it was before I put the chickens on for their next rotation. But yeah, that's my experimental chickens. It went really well. I've learnt a lot, made a lot of mistakes, but at least I was able to experiment here in suburbia before I moved to the farm. So I'll be implementing some of those things, and definitely not implementing some of the other ones. But yeah, I think I'm going to do another video on the regenerative agriculture topic, because it's really exciting, and that's one of the things that gets my juices flowing about this whole move to the farm. So I think that's about it, folks. I think I've caught you all up to speed. We're waiting for things to settle with the properties, and then we'll actually be farming. Now it's just organising and insurances and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, catch you folks. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Love you for it.